I had put in probably hundreds of hours into this process. And so it was this massive, enormous learning curve. And for a long time, you see no results. I've had an Instagram account for over a decade, and I hadn't really focused on it that much, but growth on Instagram is very much exponential. The day before, I got 5,835 followers. The day before that was 3,465. The day before that was 3,000. And my biggest gain days, I got 12,653 on one day, which was really wild.
Dory, welcome. How are you doing?
Hi, Brian. Good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So super excited to go through this call together. It's going to be a little bit of reliving the moments, these months of working together and the things that we were able to achieve together in this journey. The first thing that I want to ask you, very simple question, but very important for me. We started working together in January, and you just crossed 100,000 followers. So around 90K followers gained during this journey together. I want to ask you, how does it feel?
It's fantastic. I've had an Instagram account for over a decade, and I hadn't really focused on it that much. And at first, for a long time, I was using it as just a means of social communication. You know, here's the photo of me doing a thing. But I decided last year that it was important for me, for business reasons, to want to grow on Instagram and expand my reach there. But it's very hard to figure out how to crack the code of that. So I am very excited that the gains are compounding, and that thanks to your help, I was able to cross 100,000 followers.
I appreciate you saying that, Dory. And you're quite known, especially on LinkedIn and in general in the business industry. Before whoever that's seen this video, and I've never seen your face online, it's the first time for them. Can you just quickly say to the people watching what exactly it is that you do? So yeah, a bit of an introduction about yourself.
Yeah, I write business and career books and create courses and content around them. My most recent one is called The Long Game: How to Be a Long-Term Thinker in a Short-Term World. I taught for a number of years at business schools at Duke and Columbia, and do a lot of work on LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn was definitely a platform that I was comfortable with, but Instagram, not so much.
What was, let's call it almost like the trigger? And what I mean by that is, what was the main thing that you noticed as Instagram as a platform, or maybe your personal brand in general, that you said, that made you think, you know what, like this year, I'm actually going to dedicate a bit of my time to Instagram, and it's a platform that I want to crack? What was that trigger that made you decide?
So for me, the impetus was that I have a book that's going to be coming out in fall of 2027. It is called The Definitive Guide to Becoming a Coach. It is being released with Harper Business. I'm co-authoring it with a couple of colleagues, Alyssa Cohn and Marshall Goldsmith. And what I realized was, because I have a pretty strong presence on LinkedIn, and so do Marshall and Alyssa, we already had a good audience of executive coaches or people who are aspiring to be executive coaches who are following us. But coach means a lot of things. There are many disciplines. There are people who want to be parenting coaches and divorce coaches and nutrition coaches and fitness coaches. And those people may or may not be on LinkedIn. A lot of them are on Instagram and use that as their primary communication vehicle on social media. So I realized that if we wanted to be successful in launching the book to the kind of audience that we wanted, I needed to go where those people were.
100%. And I genuinely believe that that's the beauty about expanding not only vertically, but horizontally your personal brand, which is, at the end of the day, every single platform has a different language. And as a consequence, different people spend time on different platforms. I can genuinely see how this, in the long run, because we just talked about it before we actually hit press and started this recording, which I told you from like day one. Instagram is such a compounding platform. So you've seen yourself how the growth has skyrocketed recently. I don't know if you have this data in mind. I didn't ask you to prepare it, but do you know as of right now how many followers you're gaining per day?
Yeah, it's in. I can tell you on my phone. It's a lot more than I was gaining at the beginning. That's for sure. I have been really amazed with the compounding of it, because the human mind is trained to think in a linear kind of way, but growth on Instagram is very much exponential. In the earliest days of creating content, most of my posts, like over 50% of my posts would get 0 followers. Like it was just not that compelling, even though I was trying hard. But now there's sort of disproportionate gains. So I can tell you the most recent date, it doesn't give yesterday, but it gives the day before. So the day before, I got 5,835 followers. The day before that was 3,465. The day before that was 3,038. The day before that was 3,452. These are enormous numbers. And my biggest gain days, which was about a week ago, I got 12,653 on one day, which was really wild.
We can say like in the past few weeks, you probably gained like 80% of the followers that we gain in this whole like 5-6 months of working together. I'm saying this, of course, to relive the moments and be like, wow, okay, we achieve amazing things together. But it's not just that. I want this video to actually be valuable when someone watches it, because not everyone is working with us right now, but they still might be on their journey of improving their Instagram and growing there. And I see so many people focus on the early stages of it. And it's like, why is this video not getting followed? Why this video is not getting followed? But it's really about, and we talked about this in one of our previous calls, it's really about becoming that type of person that can create videos that are able to get 12,000 followers in one day, right? And you asked me the other day, you were like, Brian, what do you think was actually the missing piece that we just, plugged into this whole equation, and now I'm growing so fast? And I'm like, Dory, I told you, of course, there's like a few formats that we leverage and they start working really well. But at the end of the day, it's really about the person that you became in this process that is able to understand yourself, how a video needs to look in order to perform. And tell me if I'm wrong, I might be completely off, but something that happens usually in these calls is I ask this question and everybody replies, yes, that's actually true. Do you feel like you're starting to understand before you actually post a video if that's going to perform well or not for you? Like, do you get that feeling before you actually post a video?
I definitely have a much better intuitive sense for that.
Yeah.
And I recognize what you're saying because over the years, I've cultivated that competency in different areas. Mm-hmm. A thing that I do a lot with the people that I work with in my mastermind is we focus a lot on writing for high profile publications. People want to break into Fast Company or Harvard Business Review or things like that. And so we spend a lot of time on things like, well, what makes for a good article and how do you write that article and how do you give it to them in a format so that they're like, oh yes, I'm going to run that. And so I've built up the pattern recognition there, but I hadn't done that with short form video. And through this process, I've gotten much more of a sense of how to do that. And
you said that until this year, you haven't really dedicated much time to Instagram. It was more of a platform for you to share your photos and your moments. You told me why you wanted to start it in the first place. What do you believe was the biggest mindset shift about Instagram that you had to have, let's say, in order to get these results that you learned by working on this process together?
Well, I think that a thing that I had been a little bit hesitant to do before is I have been in business for a while now. I started my career as a print journalist. And so I was always very comfortable writing things because that was a sphere where I felt like I had control. I could make it the way that I wanted to. But video has changed so tremendously in the past 2 decades. I did some video projects when I was first starting out in business 20 years ago, but they were really onerous. You had to have specialized equipment and specialized people, and they were very expensive to do. And so that was a medium that I hadn't really focused on because I thought, oh, it's too hard and it's too costly. And obviously I knew that, iPhones have changed a lot of things, but I didn't quite understand what was possible for an individual to be able to do. I felt like that editing was going to be too complicated or just like getting the nuances of filming right. And so I would have things where, I would have my assistant do it. I mean, that was a lot easier than hiring like a crew, it was much better. Yeah. But up until recently, that was the modality that I used. And it's always way more complex when you have this other person and you're like, oh, can you make this change? I don't like the font. And then it's like another 5 days in the iteration process. And so I think the biggest mindset shift was understanding that it actually has reached the tipping point now where it's easy enough for a non-specialist, a non-expert to be able to do these things, to do the filming, to do the editing. I'm doing these things on my own now. I deliberately took them over because I wanted to understand the process. And that's been really helpful because the speed to iteration is faster. I know more what's possible. I know if I ever work with an outside editor again, I will know what I can ask for and what's easy versus hard. It's been very empowering to know that I can do those things on my own because I'm able to make it happen faster and have much more control.
You're going to tell me if you notice this difference, but it's not only, okay, I acquire a new platform. Now also Instagram I have my presence there. It's video, it's a different way of communicating than text. At the end of the day, it's a 3D personal brand, right? People can feel you, can hear you, can see your face, and I genuinely believe that it can build a different type of connection that text does. You tell me if you agree with me on that, but it's definitely more of a multi-dimensional personal brand now that you have rather than before.
I think that's true. In the world of sociology, they talk about people having a parasocial relationship with someone. Sort of classically, it's like, you watch Jennifer Aniston on TV and you feel like, oh, I'm Jennifer Aniston's friend. Like, we could be buddies. I think certainly to a lesser extent because the audiences are lesser. But I think that's true with video as well, that it does give people much more of a flavor of who you are or how you are. And so it creates a tighter connection or relationship because it's not just like, this is a good article. It's, oh, I like this person's vibe.
And in this process of learning the skill set, because you told me yourself in the school is something that you had to learn from scratch. What would you say has been the most valuable part of us working together on this, of you being part of this program, that helped you the most in understanding how this system works and how to succeed with this?
I think that the program has been very helpful for me in a variety of ways. The first is it is, of course, a forcing function, which is useful for all kinds of things where you are making a commitment and saying, okay, this is going to be my focus, and so I'm locked in on this. But the structure that you've created has been very helpful. It's, step by step, everything from like, how do you optimize your profile at a very basic level? What should your username be, or how do you describe yourself, to some of the more tactical elements that obviously do change, not all the time, but somewhat frequently in terms of Instagram and how it works. There's plenty of people who are still thinking in their head, oh, I should be using 400 hashtags. That's the way to grow on Instagram. And of course, that is something that has changed over time. But if you're not following or you're not keeping up that closely, you won't know that. And so it's been very helpful working in a community with someone like you who is following it closely to understand, here are the techniques that are useful now versus things that might have been useful in the past, but that ship has sailed.
100%. And I think that, of course, me and Alessio, we live and breathe Instagram, is where we spend most of our time every day, not from perspective of scrolling, not from a consumer perspective, but from a creator perspective, between working with all of our clients. And I think the number one thing for you to be able to succeed on Instagram is understanding it as a platform. It can be scary at first because it's literally like a new language. For example, you had a huge audience on LinkedIn, but you didn't necessarily speak this language. So there can be similarities, like between different languages, right? It could be the alphabet that is the same, or certain words sound similar to each other, but at the end of the day, it's like learning a new language. And something that I really, really appreciated from the start about us working together is you were never scared of putting in the work. Of course, we do it in a way that's sustainable for a founder, a business owner. We don't work with a creator wanting to become a creator, or someone that has 10 hours a day to dedicate to videos. It's definitely not who we work with, but you've been very, very open from the start with feedback, really having this mindset of wanting to learn what you were missing. We would jump on calls and be like, how do you think about this? And I think that's the biggest skill set that you can learn, because yes, you can get followers, you can get viral videos, but you can confirm it with people watching. But especially in the last few days, it's not like I have reviewed every single video you've been creating before putting it out, which that to me, it's such a beautiful thing because it means you actually understood the process behind it. I don't have to be there and be like, Dory, send me the script, send me the... We started that like that, of course, but then it turned into something that you understand, like a language that you speak. and you don't need a translator next to you in every moment for you to succeed. And I think that's the most valuable, because even though the journey has come to an end, I know for a fact you're going to get to 500,000, and why not 1,000,000 and above, following what you learned.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And it is really helpful to feel like there is a real person who's knowledgeable that you can show things to and run ideas past. And there's plenty you can learn just researching on your own with AI, these days. Yeah. But and it will get you part of the way there, but it is not useful in the sense that the hardest part is like that last mile of like, okay, I understand the theory, but how does that apply to my particular use case? And it can be very hard for people to see that last part of, oh, but I need to change this word. Oh, I need to change the order of this thing. And it can make a pretty substantial difference. And so I think that the direct coaching is a extremely useful element.
I appreciate you saying that. And the reason why we structure like this in the first place is we work with so many amazing talents, amazing people, and all of you have a different experience, background, skill set that you're ready to teach to the world. But at the same time, I genuinely believe that every single person has its own assets and things that they can, like their USPs, right? And to us, it's so important to work on a one-on-one level together, because we need to understand these things in the first place. Like if I, as your coach, don't understand what are your certain skill set or USPs that we can use in the content, then how can we make a strategy that not only will work, but it's actually aligned to who you are as a person? I had instances where I tried to have a specific person speak in front of the camera, and it was the best thing ever. And another person was like, please, let me just use my phone, because you put me in front of lights and camera, I just freeze. And it's really about understanding. It's not like Instagram, it's like, you just got to do this format. And this format, you will go viral. It's like, what is that intersection between your skill set and USPs and where the attention already is, like formats that are already been proven to work? That intersection is your zone of genius and is where you get results.
Yeah, I think that's very true.
We gained 90,000 followers in this month of working together. I do want to ask you, what gets you the most excited now moving forward?
I am excited for a few reasons. One, which is the reason that I came in for, is that I know that I do have a larger audience that I'm speaking to now. And so when the book comes out, hopefully there'll be more folks who are excited about that and interested in receiving that message. It also is very useful from a social proof perspective about different opportunities. It's interesting. Instagram, for better or for worse, has a lot of cultural currency in the mainstream populace that LinkedIn doesn't, at least at this point. And, you can have a lot of followers on LinkedIn, but because LinkedIn doesn't really tout that or sort of advertise it in the same way, it's not relevant in a lot of people's minds. And so the thing that they'll do, like if you're looking for an opportunity, if you want to speak somewhere, if you want to be on a podcast or something, they will often go to Instagram first and use that as a litmus test. And then they just stop there. You could be very big in other areas and they're just like, oh, well, if you're not big on Instagram. I mean, honestly, I think that's kind of a ridiculous mindset, but whatever, it's life. And so I like to play it as it lays. And so it's, if that is a litmus test, it's important to deal with reality and to try to meet people in that place. So I think that is going to be helpful. I think also the part that has been really quite heartwarming for me is, interestingly, so when you are posting on Instagram, you can cross post on Facebook. And I used to not do that, because I thought, I should have different content in different places or whatever. But since I've been going hard with these videos on Instagram, I've been cross-posting them on Facebook. And interestingly enough, I don't know if this will change over time, but the response on Facebook in particular has been so just really lovely, like genuinely lovely, people being very appreciative. I feel like Facebook has sort of shockingly become a kind of nice place on the internet where people seem very positive. And I will mention a side benefit that I was not anticipating in any way. My Facebook following has grown by well over 50,000 in the last couple of months. And that's entirely 100% a result of the Instagram strategy that we've been doing, because I've only been cross-posting. So that's a wonderful side benefit as well.
We actually, I don't know how active you've been recently in the wins chat in the program. You know how, you know, yourself, you share a lot of wins there, but also we have other people in the program. And I said the other day, like, finally, to the community, I was like, guys, if you don't stop, I'm gonna start saying that I'm a LinkedIn expert, which for the most part, I've never been really into LinkedIn and understanding the algorithm at all. But I've been seeing more and more results for people inside of the program just saying, like, this just got like 500,000 impressions on LinkedIn, or this just, you know, I just reached 1 million people in the last week of posting my videos made for Instagram on LinkedIn. And we're just noticing more and more that it's like, because we're putting so much effort and attention to detail with our program in the systems and in videos, that I feel like more and more platforms are really becoming interested in videos. And it's not only Instagram. Instagram is mostly where we focus our attention because of everything that we talked about, and usually it's the hardest to crack. But as a consequence, these platforms that are connected by all of them being able to, you know, put out videos on these platforms, they all grow at the same time. So love to see that you also benefited from this.
Yeah, it's great to see the sort of spill on benefits.
Last question that I have for you, a bit of a classic one, but I mean it. I don't want you to say just something because it will help us out. I want you to say something because you mean it, which is, you know, in January when we started working together, we're in July right now. If you would have had the Dory of January in front of you, you know, still thinking about, like, should I work with Brian and create Content Club? Yes or no? Like, what would you tell Dory now in July after the results that we got together?
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled with the results. And I think the most important thing that I would say is that you need to have faith in the fact that this is a process that takes a long time to get started, but then becomes exponential once it clicks in. I think that for a lot of people, I mean, literally, I wrote a book about this, about long-term thinking. So I was constantly reminding myself and having this mantra of, okay, I am doing this without seeing any results because I know that this can work and I have faith in the process. And I think for about 4.5 months, I had gained 300 followers. And that's nice, but I had put in probably hundreds of hours, just literally hundreds of hours into this process. I was spending huge amounts of time learning skills about scripting, about shooting video, about editing, about understanding the dynamics of the platforms in general, about new software, you know, everything, you know, from software to organize things to software to analyze videos, etc. And so it was this massive, enormous learning curve. And for a long time, you see no results, and that can feel very discouraging. But you have to have faith in the process. And I know that you know, have said it like a mantra, and I know from talking to other people who have been through the program that something similar has happened. And so I think that is always important to have in mind as a North Star. And so I'm really glad that I've done this, because I feel like not only have I built a number of followers, which is great, but I have built a wide variety of fundamental foundational skills that can be cross-purposed in a variety of ways. And it's going to help me in every social channel, and it's going to help me in just a huge amount of ways. I mean, I'll give you one very tangible example. I got a brand deal recently, and it was a brand deal where they wanted me to do a post on LinkedIn. It's great. I was now able to go to them and say, well, you know, I've really been spending a lot of time and growing on Instagram as well. Would you like it to be cross-posted on Instagram? And they said, sure. And I was able to bump up and get an even higher fee for that brand deal as a result of this new asset. And because I am now much more comfortable with filming and with editing, they needed it turned around really quickly. And I was able to do that in, you know, like less than 48 hours, because script a video, edit a video, upload a video. Okay, great. I can do that now, and I have the confidence to do it. So I want to really thank you, because I think that your program has been extremely valuable in teaching me things that I would not have known otherwise.
That makes me so happy, Dory. So grateful for you saying that, and that's really what it's about. You know, it's a classic analogy of, like, I could hand you the fish on a plate, or I can actually teach you how to fish. And it's not just, that the first fish that you get on the plate is like, you can fish whenever you want now. It's a skill set that you have, that you internalize, and you can use forever. And this is just the start. I mean, you've been growing like 4,000 followers consistently every single day now. It's just about keep on leveraging this momentum. And the more we move forward, the more you even get better. So the more skill set you will acquire. So this is genuinely just a start. Would be, lovely to film an update for the audience in, who knows, like 6 months from now. And, who knows where you're going to be at. But I genuinely believe that the work that we've done together and the amazing job that you did yourself in like assimilating all this work and actually putting it to work, because one thing is the theory, one thing is the, in practice. I think you're just seeing now, and I say like confidently because of how many people we help it at this point, and how much not just the Instagram side, but the other platforms, the business, how much like they benefit from it. I genuinely know that this is just a start for you. But it has been an amazing journey so far. I'm really grateful for everything that you said. Anything else you want to say to the audience? If not, I'm pretty satisfied with this 20, 30 minutes of talking.
No, this is great. And you can follow me on Instagram at Dory
There
Clark.
you go. There you go. It's hey, call to action. You see.